It's day 11 of the 31-Day Safer Pilot Challenge. In this video, I'm going to share with you my story of complacency. Welcome to the Safer Pilot Challenge. M0A Online Ground School, Jason here. Welcome into day 11. If you are 11 for 11, check in the comments down below so I know. I'm starting to remember some of your names now, seeing them just day after day here. So I'm expecting, I'll be your accountability partner to avoid complacency and making sure you finish all 31 days of this challenge. If you have homework, no issues, go back, do the homework, catch up, whatever that may be for you. Hope you're having a phenomenal day today. Again, like and subscribe here on YouTube and Facebook so you don't miss any part of this series. And of course, check out the full online ground school for private instrument, commercial, and fundamentals of instructing, m0atrial.com. Check it out before you spend any money with us. Make sure you like my teaching style and check that out. I want to open up by sharing with you my story of complacency. Many of you wonder, you hear, wow, Jason has all these hours. How did you get so many hours, Jason? Well, one of my first piloting jobs was a traffic pilot. This is well before drones, even before traffic cameras were really accessible technology for cities. I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, and I flew, oddly enough, 23 Mike Zulu. Back then it was 7159 Quebec. And I flew it around this, we'd call it a beltway. It's really not, but it's a bunch of roads all combined to kind of make a beltway around Jacksonville, Florida. And I would report traffic accidents to a local radio station. And it was every day, Monday through Friday. 7 a.m. start time, so wheels up, 6:30, 6:45, depending on the day. Go until 9, unless traffic was bad, there was an accident I needed to cover, and I'd report to the local radio station. I would land, I'd go to school or go to class or fly with students in between, and then I would do the afternoon shift as well, which ran from 4 to 6, and same kind of thing. So it was guaranteed 4 hours of doing the same thing every single day for many years. You can see how complacency can sneak in when you literally, I couldn't even spin the route around and make all my turns to the right. It was the same route, how the radio station wanted it. I talked to the same controllers. It was the same. Everything was the same. And you can imagine when I first got to this job, I was super excited, took everything so seriously, and then imagine months and then years of the same route, the same routine, everything over and over. It was easy to let complacency sneak in. And just being honest with you, there were times where I'd roll out of bed at 6:30, get over to the airport at 6:45, swing through some drive-through to grab breakfast, wearing flip-flops and shorts, and kind of do a sort of a pre-flight, get out there and just get flying, have my seat kind of kicked back a notch because I was relaxing. Complacency had snuck in from that Jason who was up at 5, very professional there, pre-flight and everything else. Over time, complacency snuck in there. Well, I'll never forget it. I was moving back to Ocala, and I was training a good friend of mine, a gentleman who's still a good friend of mine to this day, to take over for me with the traffic gig. And I remember teaching him, and he had that same, we'll call it he wasn't a student pilot, but he had that student pilot type mindset. Very accomplished commercial pilot, working on his CFI, looking to build some time. And man, his pre-flight was so perfect. He was there early. He was so meticulous. He was full of energy. He was ready for these duties. And then you had Jason, this complacent, jaded pilot, whatever you want to call it at the time. And I remember just teaching him and going, wow, he's taking everything so seriously. And I'll never forget his very first day solo on the job. My first time sleeping in, and I couldn't tell you how long. And I didn't get to sleep in because my phone rang that morning. And it was the gentleman who I had just trained. But it was like 7:10 in the morning. I'm thinking, why is he calling me? He should be flying. I can't make this up. He took off, runway, I think 32 at Craig Field, and had an engine failure on takeoff. And did not attempt an impossible turn, landed straight ahead, and had a very successful landing on a road right there. And I get chills even just telling the story, because let me tell you something. that accident missed me by just a day. And it would have been an accident because I would have had an Egg McMuffin in one hand, my seat kicked back 2 or 3 notches, probably wearing flip-flops, rubbing the sleep out of my eyes because I just woke up 15 minutes earlier, did a half a pre-flight. I was a complacent pilot. Yet the gentleman who took over for me was so serious, had the exact opposite of complacency, and was fully prepared for that moment. I may not be making this video for you if that wasn't the case, if he didn't take over. Now, he and I are still friends to this day and still joke about that story, but it was a wake-up call for me. And I'm thankful I had the opportunity to even have that wake-up call. Because aviation's not like driving a car. We don't pull over and call AAA for assistance. It doesn't work that way. We take the skills we learned here on the ground and we take them into the air with us. So what causes us to be complacent? Well, you could be like me and just the same routine over and over. You could just be tired. I hate to say this, lazy. I was lazy at one point, forgetful, rushed for time. I am already running late. I've just got to get there. Let's hustle this pre-flight done. I just need to get up in the air. We are humans. And let me tell you something. It's not just us that gets complacent. Controllers can get complacent. Mechanics can get complacent, line personnel can get complacent, and all those people are a part of your team. And they're all susceptible to those same 5 hazardous attitudes we've been speaking about: macho, invulnerability, resignation, anti-authority, impulsivity. How do we defend against complacency? And I want this to be interactive. Leave me some comments down below. What are some steps you're gonna take so you don't have a story like I just shared? You defend against complacency. Maybe it's, Jason, I will be disciplined, because disciplined pilots perform the same task in the same manner every time, but with that same level of discipline. You know how many times I pre-flighted 23 Mike Zulu, but I still do each pre-flight now like it's my first. Every time around, checklist in hand, whatever that may be, using that approved checklist to do that pre-flight, guarding against those 5 hazardous attitudes. And are you familiar with what we call the 12 operational pitfalls? Peer pressure, your mindset, get there-itis, duck under, I'll get under this, or scud run, VFR into IMC, getting behind the aircraft, a loss of situational awareness, this one sounds crazy, operating without an adequate fuel reserve. How about descending below MEA or DH or DA for my IFR pilots? Flying outside or beyond the envelope of what your aircraft is capable of. Neglecting the flight plan. Neglecting your pre-flight inspection. Neglecting your checklists. Here's another one. Be methodical in everything you do. Complacency, it sneaks in quietly. You just leave the door cracked and it will sneak in. It's not just like one day you wake up and I'm a complacent pilot. Complacency for me snuck in slowly, hour by hour, flight by flight. You could just get overloaded or underloaded for that matter with tasks. Like so bored, this flight is so boring, it's so easy. I call that flying around fat, dumb, and happy. If everything seems too good, well, you need to do a fat, dumb, and happy check. Every 30 minutes, I have the switch tanks alert come on. I don't have to switch tanks into the Mike Zulu. I call it my fat, dumb, and happy check. And I'll scan everything. Go to the engine page, look at everything, scan it all. I'm always ready for unusual events. I almost, in a weird way, am expecting it. Always preparing for that. And maybe the controller asks for a quick approach. Maybe they tell you to go around and you're not ready for it. I'm always thinking ahead, always staying ahead of the airplane, always using checklists. They provide that tool to defend against errors. Work as a team or by yourself, not just rote responses that you rush through a checklist. Use a verbal checklist as a standard operating procedure. I know it's a longer video and I apologize for that, but it's a theme of this 2023 Safer Pilot Challenge. I can make you the next Jaeger or Rickenbacker or Earhart. I know I keep saying this, but it's all in vain if we don't get this down right. Defending against complacency, learning to make good decisions. That's the theme of all of this. And that's the theme of M0A Online Ground School as real world prep, yeah, you're going to pass your written. I know for a fact you're going to pass your check ride. I'm honestly not even worried about it. You may be worried about it. The Emsarray team and myself are not worried about you passing a check ride. We know you're going to do that. That's why we have that pass your check ride or we'll pay for it guarantee. And it's not a guarantee we have to write a check on, almost never on that one. So I'm worried about making you, and I'm interested in making you a safe, real world pilot. I'm in the business of you and your spouse flying somewhere safely. You and 180 paying passengers, and you taking them there somewhere safely. That's what we're in the business in. So if you are interested in that, we'll continue on through the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. Check out the online ground school, emsarraytrial.com. I'll see you all tomorrow. In the meantime, go out there and be a light. Defend against complacency, and most importantly, remember, a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you. See and hear your favorite check ride examiner's questions before the actual test. There's 3 books now: Pass Your Private, Pass Your Instrument, and Pass Your Commercial Pilot Check Rides, all available to you as a paperback if you wish, but I recommend grabbing the audiobook as well from anywhere audiobooks are sold, so you can really immerse yourself in the weeks and days and hopefully months leading up to your check ride.